beautiful people. How are you? Today we're talking all about tinctures. Well, specifically, we're talking about how to appropriately dose an herbal tincture for an adult and for a child. Go ahead and push like and subscribe to this video and ring the bell, and you'll be notified every time we drop a new video. We put new videos out every Friday. If this is our first time meeting, my name is Maria Chaudhry. I'm a midwife and an herbalist. As a midwife, I've attended hundreds of home births safely at home, and as an herbalist, I've created birth song botanicals, and we make lots of tinctures and we sell them all over the world. And you can learn more about us on our website at birthsongbotanicals.com. So let's get right into it and start talking about how to dose an herbal tincture, because it's important to know that herbal tinctures are much more concentrated than teas or infusions. So the amount that you consume is in drops instead of in cups or quarts, right? So a tincture is an extraction made out of alcohol or out of glycerin, or sometimes they're even made out of vinegar, and it's super concentrated herbal preparation. What I want to let you to know is, like, when it comes to dosing, there's not a one-size-fits-all answer. There's a little bit of art and skill and experience and intuition that comes into deciding the appropriate dosage. So for example, when you're working with a very nourishing herb, particularly an herb that's been extracted with vinegar, right? If you're working with a nourishing herb, or shoot, even if it was extracted with alcohol, but it's like Hawthorne or Nettle or Dandelion, those herbs are food, right? And so you can consume and eat and have multiple droppers of these herbs a couple times. I don't want to say multiple droppers. You can have one or two droppers a few times a day, and it's totally fine. Versus when you have a more medicinal herb, for example, like echinacea or golden seal, you don't need droppers. Maybe 10, maybe 20 drops of that herb a few times a day. And if you're working with like Cayenne, that's so strong and powerful, you might only need 1 drop, right? So part of the dosage is remedy specific or herb specific. The other part of the dosage is who's consuming it, right? Who and where, so who is the person consuming it? So for an adult, how much do they weigh? There's a standard, an industry standard that we put on all our bottles, that all the herb companies put on all their bottles, and it says the same thing. It says take 20 to 40 drops 3 to 5 times a day, or as needed, right? So what does that mean? A dose, an amount, the recommended dosage, it'll say 20 to 40 drops or 1 ml. So what that means is when you open this up, this is a tincture. There's 30 mils in here. There's 1 ounce. So there are 30 mils in here. So that means there's 30 full doses. So in order to get the dose, you're going to squeeze the dropper, and see how I squeezed it and I have half of my glass filled. So I'm going to turn it upside down, then I'm going to squeeze it, and then I'm going to put it back in and release. And now, look, see how I have it all the way filled? This is 1 ml. There are 30 mils inside this bottle. 1 ml is anywhere between 35 to 40 drops. It's an average, it's an estimation, because not every drop is the exact same size. Okay? So a dose is 1 dropper 2 to 5 times a day. It depends on the condition and on the situation. Most of the time, I'm not taking any remedy 5 times a day, especially good night tincture. I'm not taking good night tincture 5 times a day, or I'm not taking chlorophyll 5 times a day. Good night will totally put me to sleep. I'll like hardly get anywhere, and then chlorophyll, I'd be so beamed up, jacked up, I would just be buzzing. So that's not appropriate. However, if I had a cold, if I had a flu and I was coughing, then 5 times a day some elderberry complex, yeah, I get that. 5 times a day if I'm a breastfeeding mom and I need to increase my milk supply really quickly because I'm going back to work and I'm feeling really stressed out because my supply's low and I need to make a change fast, then absolutely 5 times a day take your herbs. So it's depending on your situation and it's depending on the herbs. Okay? As a general rule, these doses that we put on all our labels is based on a person that weighs 150 pounds. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you take 1 ml or 35 to 40 drops 2 to 5 times a day. Now, if you weigh less than 150 pounds and you're one of those people that you take something in your mouth or you take an herb or drink a tea and like you feel its effects and you feel sensitive to it and you feel like it comes on strong and fast, then reduce the dose by half and go from there. If you're over 150 pounds and you take herbal remedies and you're like, that didn't do anything, I don't feel a thing, I don't notice any difference or any change, then go ahead and double the dose. Meaning, don't take it 10 times a day, but take, instead of 1 dropper, take 2 droppers 2 to 5 times a day. Okay? So I want to clarify that. So as a midwife, I work with women and children. And so that means I work with gentle, safe plants that are nourishing and that are tonic, and that they're not like these highly medicinal, highly toxic plants that require a lot of caution. So I tend to be really comfortable and relaxed around herbs because I keep it within this parameter, right? I'm not working with toxic, intense, strong, powerful herbs. I'm working with gentle herbs, so then I feel real comfortable taking in a dropper or 2, right? But when you're working with much stronger plants, like the cayenne and the lobelia and the golden seal, you really do need to start off small and build yourself up to much higher doses. Okay, I just wanted to put that out there. So put in the comments, I'd like to hear from you. When you take herbal tinctures and you put it in your mouth, do you need to have like a half a dose, a full dose, or a double dose? Let me know in the comments. And so now I want to start to segue and talk about working with children. Because working with children, I really rely on that parameter of safety of working with gentle, effective, nourishing, safe herbs. So that's what I built my entire herbal practice and my entire herbal line is within that parameter. So have that awareness when you're thinking about Birdsong Botanicals. These are all made for women and children specifically. However, when you're thinking about children and working with children, the similar things kind of go through your mind. You're like, okay, so who is this child that I'm working with? How old is this child? How big is this child? What is their constitution? Are they tough or are they like delicate flowers, right? What's their problem? What's their illness? What's their stage of illness? Right? So there's a lot of pieces that kind of come to the forefront of my mind when I'm trying to figure out the dosage. Not to mention, what herb am I working with? What herbal preparation is it? Right? So you start to rely on, as an herbalist, as a midwife, and as a mom, and as a human, we start to rely on our intuition, right? Your intuition is how you figure out the appropriate dosage and the appropriate medicine. But intuition doesn't mean you're guessing. You're just like, well, I don't know, I'm just gonna wander around and guess, right? Your intuition is a cultivated skill that you hone in. It comes through your experience, it comes through your studies, it comes through your practice. That's how you develop an intuition. And so you're going to apply your intuition And now, after 20 years of experience, I feel much more comfortable in that stage. However, when I first started working and learning about plants, I did not rely on my intuition. I relied on the book. And so I think you should have at least 3 or 4 herb books. And the first one should be one of those scientific books filled with all the Latin names and all the botanical names and all those diagrams of the active components and the constituents of the herbs that you are like, it's way over your head, right? And you get that book and read that book and have it as a reference. And then get that oversimplified, super easy, very surface level book where it kind of just tells you the main thing that you need to know without much more. And then get that other herb book with the illustrations on the side, and you open it up and you're like, oh my gosh, I get to be a part of this group of these herbalists. This is amazing. This is like, so get those exciting books, right? And then you start to learn herbalism. And then you start to learn the art of herbalism. And they teach you how to cultivate your skills, and they teach you the language of the universe. They really teach you the language of the earth, right? And so what you do then is you start to see like there's so many different variations and interpretations for herbs. There's not just herbalism, one size fits all, right? And then you start to see where they overlap and where they're different. And then you find your comfort zone within these different perspectives. That's how you're going to cultivate your herbal intuition and your herbal skills. And that's how you're going to know how to dose appropriately. Having said that, there is a structure. What we always say is when you have a child that is 6 months or older and you want to give them an herbal remedy, you can give them an alcohol, but they're not going to like it, so start with a glycerin. It'll be much sweeter, and they'll be more prone to taking it again and again. They'll actually probably ask for it. I have a lot of clients that tell me, oh, my daughter is like looking for her children's tranquility all the time. But anyways, the dosage is 1 drop of tincture per 5 pounds of body weight. So for example, if you have a baby that weighs 18 pounds, you could give them 3 drops, or you could give them 4 drops. That would be your starting place, right? So you'd give them the 4 drops, and you would give it as needed based on the situation that's presenting itself. If they're just needing to settle down for nap time, you don't need to give them children's tranquility 5 times a day, just right before nap time or during nap time. Okay? I got this question, and it was like a question that made me be like, what? I have to think that through. That's a good question. This mom was like, hey, I want to know specifically how many milligrams are in each drop of your product. And I was like, okay, I know that there's a formula for that. So she was asking about Children's Immune Boost. So Children's Immune Boost has, on our label, it describes it. It has 373 milligrams per milliliter. So I'm going to hold this up because this one's open. Remember, this is 1 ml, right? So there are 373 milligrams of herbal tincture in this ml. Within this dropper, there are approximately 35 to 40 drops. We're going to say 40. So I take 373, the amount that's written on the label, and I divide it by 40. Then I can see, each drop of Children's Immune Boost has 9.4 milligrams of herbs. If you gave that baby, like the example that I just told you of that 18-pound baby, and you gave that baby 4 drops, then you would have given your baby 38 milligrams of herbs per dose. And so for those of you that want to know that specificness, that's how you figure it out. And so for those of you that want to know more about working with herbs and children and specific dosages, I wrote a book called Herbs for Kids. It's an ebook, and there's a course that goes with it. The link is in the description. You can download it right now. But before you go, I want to talk to you about one more thing that's popped up in my years of working with children and moms, is particularly, there are so many like food sensitivities and allergies, and like there are children that have more severe allergies right now. And so moms are concerned because they're wanting to go a natural approach, but then they're not sure if their child's going to be allergic to something. And so my proposal is that if you're that concerned like about an EpiPen, then you'll follow all these steps. So what you do is you're going to do an allergy test, small patch allergy test. So you get the tincture that you're going to utilize, and you put a few drops on the inner part of their arm, like a place that's really sensitive, and rub it in. And then you're going to wait. You have to wait 24 hours, right? You have to wait to see if there's any redness on that spot, or if they get red eyes or an itchy throat, or they're having a hard time breathing. But if they have an itchy throat or something like that, then that's clearly a sign that to not give that herb internally. But if you give it and after 24 hours there's no redness and no signs, and you're still concerned, start with half a dose. And give them half a dose and wait another 12 hours or 24 hours. And then if there's no redness or no signs of allergy, then you proceed. One other thing that I would say is don't test these things out in the evening on Friday. Test these things out in the morning, in the middle of a work week, because in the rare chance that there is an allergy, you have easy access to care if you needed it, right? So we're going to wrap up this video. I want to invite you to this. I want you to know that this video is a series, and I wrote a whole blog post about everything you need to know about tinctures. And so if you want to know more about storage, what tinctures are, how to extract, how to take tinctures, then you want to go to that blog post. And it's on our website, birthsongbotanicals.com. The link is in the description. When you go to the website, you'll see all our tinctures there. And since you watched this video, I'm going to give you something. I'm going to give you a code. And you can use the word tinctures in all caps when you check out. And you can get 10% off any one of these tinctures. We have a whole collection of tinctures made just for children. And like I said, we have the ebook for children and the course that you can download. And if you want to know like shorter videos about how to make a tincture, how to take a tincture, then you'll see the suggested videos in this series, and you can go there. And share this video with your friends. Push like and subscribe. And until next time, my friends, drink deep and always walk in beauty.